Hello, my name is Santiago Martinez. Today we're going to be going over problem 7 of exam 4. And I'm going to dive into how to do this right now. So problem 7, let's write it out. Problem 7 is we're given a certain information. So we're given cot or cotangent of theta is equal to -7 over 24. And theta happens to be in quadrant 2. So using this information right off the bat, we know that we're going to have to draw a triangle, right? So the reason that we're going to have to draw a triangle is that we can use our Pythagorean theorem later on, and it's just easier to visualize. So it doesn't have to be crazy, but we should analyze the information that we're given. So it's in quadrant 2, so we should probably draw our triangle based off of quadrant 2, right? So let's draw this. This right here would represent quadrant 2, and we'd go up and down. And we don't know what quite information to fill here. We can get an idea from this area over here, but first let's write it out. So we know cotangent is equal to 1 over tangent, right? And then we also know that tangent is equal to O over A, right? Remembering soak, or however you want to pronounce it, ka, to, right? So using that information, opposite over adjacent. Going off that information, we know that tangent, we're going to have to kind of work backwards here, right? Because if this is our value of cotangent, we kind of have to alter it into a way that we know that's going to work. So if we knew that we had to solve, move my graph over a little bit. If we had to move our graph over a little bit, we can also it's important to note that if you want to make it easier on yourself, you can just make it it's the inverse of tangent, right? So inverse of tangent is what cotangent is, right? So we can rewrite this as cotangent is inverse, so these values are going to swap. For tangent is going to be adjacent over opposite. Is a much easier way to look at it, right? So now, knowing that, we know that 7 is going to be A, and we'll assign -7 because that's the proper way to do things, is to give the negative to the top value. And 24, or was it 24 or 22? Yep, 24 is opposite. Beautiful. So going off that information, it is a lot easier to say that we can start plugging this into our triangle. So we know this is hypotenuse. We know that we don't have hypotenuse. We only have A and H, or A and O, excuse me. Oop, that's not an angle sign. So our angle will be right here, and it'll be facing this way, right? And our opposite, as we said, is going to be -7. And we're going to have our angle actually should be facing this way. My apologies. And we have 24. That's adjacent. That's -7 on the opposite flank. And then we're looking for this value. So going off that information, we can use the P theorem again as 24 squared plus -7 squared equals r squared. Nice. So now we're going to solve. We know that 7 squared is 49 positive, and we know that 24 squared will be 576. If you don't know that, you can sit to the side and you can multiply it out to get to your answer. And let's do it right here to show. So we have 24 times 24. 4 times 4 is going to be 16, right? And then 4 times 2 is 8, is 96. Add our second 0. 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 2 is 4. 6, 7, 1, 5. So that's how we get that answer, is equal to r squared. Now let's add these two. So let's go plus 49. So we should get 625. So 625 is equal to r squared. Then we would just flip our area. So we should do r, absolute value of r is equal to the root of 625. And we only need positive, so we'll write that. And a good way to figure this out is what I literally like to do, is if we take 625 and we're going to split it up into values that equal it, right? So the first thing I'm thinking is it ends in a 5, so it could be divisible by 5. So 5 and 125. Beautiful. Then we have 125 can split up by 5 as well, and 25. 25 times 5 is, or 5 times 5 is 25. So now we look at 25. This is our important value here. We know 25 grouped this together and grouped this together will give us 25 squared, which will give us the value of 625. So this r is equal to 25. And we only want positive, and that is going to be our first part. But then keep in mind that this question was also, my apologies, I forgot to answer this as well. It's also asking find the value of secant. So to do that, we have our r now, or our h, better yet, so we can plug it in. We know SEC is 1 over cosine. And to figure that out, right, we have our cosine. So what's cosine? So cosine up here is a over h. So we have a over h is going to be cosine, right? So we know that secant is the inverse. So we can write it as h over a. Knowing that, let's just fill in our properties. So h is 25. And our a is 24. Or 7, excuse me. -7. And that is our answer to that question. Thank you so much. And that's how we run through a question like that.